Introduction to relational database management system. Let's have a small introduction to relational database management system, and I'll just try to introduce to some of the terminologies that are usually used with relational database management system. When discussed with the database management system, example for the relational database management system can be your Oracle software, or it can be your IBM DB2 software, or it can be SQLite software, or it can be MySQL, and so on. As I told, in relational database management system, the data, they are always stored in the forms of table. That is nothing but, if it is a table, it consists of the rows and columns. Right? The data is always stored in the form of table. So in relational database management system, this table, it is called as relation. Right? The table can also be called as what? A relation. Suppose, for an example, if I consider, I just want to maintain the details of all the students of GAT, that is Global Academy of Technology. Right? I want to maintain details of all the students of Global Academy of Technology, irrespective of whichever the department they belongs to. Right? Now I want to maintain what? The details of the student. Now if I want to maintain the details of the student, fine, now I'm going to consider this student, okay, as what? A table or a relation. Fine. So this student as what? A table or a relation. When I consider the details of the students, fine, so what all the information I can store about the student? The information about the student I can store is what? The USN of the student, fine, the name of the student, then once again the age of the student, fine, the phone number of the student, the address of the student, and so on, etc. So these are all the information I can store, okay, under what? The student table or the student relation, and these are related to what? A student. Right? Now coming to this, in RDBMS, since I told the data will be stored in the form of rows and columns, fine, the table, okay, it is considered as what? A relation. Fine, it is stored in the form of rows and columns. So in RDBMS, the table is called as relation. So what is the name of the table or the relation now? It is student. Fine, so we have a student relation, or we have what? A student table. Fine. How to create this? We are going to create it by using any one of these software. And what is the language that is used by each of this software? That is your structured query language. In structured query language, if I want to create the structure of the table or the relation, I need to use what type of language? That is data definition language. So this data definition language consists of the commands like create, drop, alter, and so on. So I want to create a table student, use the command create. I'll tell you how to use the syntax for each of these commands by taking an example. Now, coming to the students, since here, fine, each of the details of the students are represented in the form of rows and columns. So we have the name of the table as student. Now, coming to this, each row represents the complete information of a particular student. Fine. Whereas each column represents the attributes or the properties of the students. Now, if I consider the student, USN, name, age, phone number, address, they represents the attributes or the what properties of the students. So the column of the table represents the attributes or the column or the properties of the student. So here the column, it can consist of USN, okay, then it can have name of the student, then once again okay, I'll take age of the student, then phone number, then what? The finally the address. Fine. So each column represents what? The properties of the student table or the student relation, and these columns, they are called as attributes in relational database management system. Fine. Here USN is an attribute, name is an attribute, age is an attribute, phone number is an attribute, address is an attribute. Whereas each row represents the complete record of a single student. Okay, so each row, okay, represents what? Here the record of a particular student or a single student. Example, I'll consider USN number 001. The name of the student is something like ABC. Age is 18. Phone number is 9845. Address is some XYZ. Fine. So here this row represents the details of one particular student. Then USN with 10, and the name of the student is XYZ. Age is 20, phone number is 0001, and address is something like ABC. Next one, 020, name is STY, then once again age is 19, phone number is 100, and once again address is something like XYZ. Fine. So this is how the data is stored in the database. Fine. So first we need to define the structure of the database, that is define what? The attributes, the columns. Then after defining the structure of the database, construct the database, that is populate the database with the data by using insert command. Then perform any manipulation. Suppose you want to change the USN of this state, USN to some other number, update it. Then phone number has to be updated, you can update. Address has to be updated, update. Suppose you want this complete record to be deleted from the database, then delete it. You want to retrieve some data belonging to particular department, then do the retrieval operation. Like this, you can perform all the operations once after the defining of what? Database and constructing your database. So if I consider the example as a whole, the name of the relation is a student, fine, and this consists of how many attributes? 5 attributes. The attributes are USN, name, age, phone, and address. Then here each row represents what? A particular record. The row in a relation in RDBMS, it is called as tuple. Fine. The columns, they are called as attributes. The rows, they are called as tuple. So I have introduced 3 terminologies here. One is attributes, one is tuple, and one is what? One is relation. The table is called as relation in relational database management system. The column represents the properties of the relation. So they are called as attributes in relational database management system. The row represents a record or a data. It is called as what? Tuple in relational database management system. Fine. So this is how actually generally the data is stored in the form of rows and column. I've considered a single example, that is a student database. So this is a student relation or a student database. Fine. Now moving to the next, fine. 2 more terminologies I would like to introduce in relational database management system, because while creating the tables, we'll use these constraints and we'll create the table. I want to introduce 2 more terminologies. One is okay, a primary key. The second one is foreign key. Fine. Now coming to this RDBMS, before I take up, okay, let's see what actually is a key. Fine. So this key, it can be defined as an attribute, or this key can be an attribute or a set of attributes which uniquely identifies, okay, a row in a relation. Fine. Which uniquely identifies a row in a relation can be considered as a key. And this key can be what? A single attribute, or it can be a set of attributes. For an example, if I consider the previous example, if I consider the USN of the student, if I consider all the students of the Global Academy of Technology, none of the students will be having the same USN number, correct? So it is nothing but this USN attribute can be considered as what? That is key. Fine. Or it can be what? A set of attributes can be considered as a key which uniquely identifies the record. Now suppose after doing this, okay, if I just create an interface, this student database is already ready. Fine. I have an interface on my computer system where it will ask for enter USN of the student. As soon as I enter the USN of a student 001, what it will do? It will retrieve the complete details of the students with the USN. What is the USN? That is 001. Fine. Because this USN, it is nothing but it is having a unique value. Fine. So none of the students have got the same USN number. So this key, that USN number, it uniquely identifies the record within the relation. So these type of attributes can be considered as what? A key in relational database management system. Okay. With the concept of the key, I want to introduce two different types of keys. The one is the primary key. The second one is the foreign key. Fine. So this primary key and foreign key, okay, they are always used to enforce the data integrity in SQL tables. Fine. So whenever a relationship has to be established between more than one tables, fine, then we can do the or establish the relation by using what is now primary key and foreign key. So we'll see what is this primary key and foreign key. Fine. Now suppose, okay, what I will do is, fine, I'll consider, okay, a GAT college. Fine. I'll just going to maintain, okay, two tables. So this is my database. GAT is my database. Within this database, okay, I'm going to maintain the details of the students in a separate table or a relation. So this is for maintaining the details of the students. Then one more table to maintain the details of the department that is available in Global Academy of Technology. So I have how many relations now? Two relation. What is the name of this relation? Student. What is the name of this relation? That is department. I have one table to maintain the details of all the students and one more table to maintain the details of all the department details. Now coming to this department, fine, I told here the column represents the attributes of the properties of the department. Fine. So what I can consider here, the department, okay, I can consider, I have the first one, that is department number, the name of the department, and the location of the department. I can consider only these three attributes. Okay, the name of the department 01, the name of the department is mechanical, the location is A block. Fine. The name of the department number is 02. The name of the department is ISC and the location is main block. Okay, then 03, then it is ECE, it is second floor. Like this, I'll maintain the details of the department. Now, if I consider this department, you can see I need to identify a key. Fine. I need to identify a key for a table in such a way that it uniquely identifies a record or a complete row from the table. If I just enter 01, okay, it is going to retrieve all the details of which department? Mechanical department. If I just enter 02, it is going to retrieve all the details of which one? ISC. You can see this department number, the attribute, that is department number, the values of these department number, they are unique. Fine. None of the department number I've got the same department number, or none of the department name is same. Fine. So I can consider either D number or D name as a key, and these type of keys, they are called as primary keys. Now, what is the primary key of the department? The primary key of the department, you can either consider department number as a primary key or a department name as a primary key, or together the set of attributes can be considered as a primary key. So what is a primary key? A primary key is a key which uniquely identifies the record in a table. Fine. And whichever the attribute we are going to consider as a primary key, the value of the primary key cannot be null. Fine. It is nothing but you cannot tell telling that, okay, I don't have the value, but I'm considering this D number as a primary key. So here I cannot place what? I cannot consider here as what? That is null, because I'm considering D number as what? Primary key. So a primary key cannot have what? A null value. It must always have some value. So these type of attributes can be considered as what? A primary key. Now coming to the student table, suppose if I consider a student table, fine, I'll consider, I'm not going to just consider, I'll just consider USN of a student, fine, name of a student, fine, and the department to which he belongs to. Fine. Now, USN of a student is 001. Name of a student is something like XYZ. Department belongs to is ISC. USN 101 ABC. Department belongs to what? Mechanical. 020 then XY belongs to ECE. Then 030 once again UVW. Then once again belongs to mechanical. Fine. Now you can see here. Fine. Now coming to this student table, which attribute can I consider as what the primary key? I can consider this USN as a primary key because none of the students will have the same USN. So this attribute can uniquely retrieve the records from the database. Fine. So hence I can consider USN as a primary key here. D number and D name, or D number or D name as a primary key of which department, that is department table. So these types of keys, they are called as what? Primary key. And the value of the primary key cannot have a value that is called as null value. We cannot leave blank for that particular attribute. Fine. And if here you can see we have a database. The database is GAD database. Within the database I have so many tables. Fine. Student table, department table, administration table, and so on. You can construct any more tables. So each of the tables should have only one primary key. Fine. I cannot tell USN as a primary key, again comma name as a primary key, but I can have the combination of USN and name together as a primary key. Fine. But it must have only one primary key. Here also department number, department name together can be considered as a primary key, but you cannot tell there are two primary keys, department number and department name. You cannot tell that. You can tell just what? Department name. Okay, we will consider department name as a primary key. Fine. So we will consider here department number as what? A primary key. Department name as a primary key. Don't want department number. Now, coming to the second one, the foreign key, I told whenever we have more than one relations or the tables, to establish a relationship between these tables, fine, we need a combination of what? Primary key and foreign key. Now, what is this foreign key? You can see coming to the student table, if I consider this column, fine, ISC, mechanical, EC, and all, these are nothing but what? The values from which table? Department table, which column? That is department name. Correct. So the values in this particular column, that is department column in student table, it is the value from which one now? Department table, that too in which column? That is department name. Your department name is a primary key of which table? Department table. Here department, it is which one? It is a student. Now this department in the student table, it is called as foreign key. Fine. Why it is a foreign key? Because it is an attribute, fine, that is a primary key in another table. Fine. So these are all nothing but department name. So is this a primary key in department table? Yes. So an foreign key is an attribute, fine, or an attribute is said to be a foreign key if it is a primary key in which one? In some other table. Means whatever the values that I'm going to refer here, these values must be one of the values from this column of the other table. So this is called as parent table, this is called as child table. So this is the primary key. Okay, this is your primary key, this is your foreign key, because it is an attribute referring the values of the primary key of other table. Fine. So hence these two are what? Okay, related, or these two are related in one or the other way. So always the relationship between two tables are always established between the primary key and the foreign key. So I'll show you how to create a primary key, how to create a foreign key, how to define a database, how to construct it, populate the data, and so on. But these are all the concepts of relational database management system. So you should know what is a relation or a table, what is a row or a tuple, what is a column or an attribute, what is a primary key or a foreign key, or in a whole as a concept with respect to what? That is key. Right. So using this concept, fine, it is just a small introduction to relational database management system. We will see how by using your Python language we can, okay, define a database, construct database, then perform the manipulation on the database, retrieve or query the data from the database. Okay, thank you.